Welcome back to CBS 19 News at 6, and CBS 19 is on the road this July, and we're in Kilgore, home to the East Texas Oil Museum, and that's where we find my colleague Robert De La Garza. And Robert, you're on some field trip today. What's it like inside this iconic piece of history?
Yeah, Brendan, so welcome back to Kilgore. We're at the East Texas Oil Museum. As you can see, there's a lot of history here. A lot to soak in. Very immersive. Like I said, this is my first time here. If you can see, we're standing outside the Crossroads Barber Shop. I know I need a haircut, but so maybe I'm next in line. There's a couple of people still waiting, so maybe later after the show we'll get that done. But let me introduce you to Manny Almanza. He's one of the directors with Kilgore College, directors of communication. But just tell me a little bit about, we're learning about history here today. So the 1930s oil boom, it was so pivotal in Kilgore's growth. Tell me about how this is kind of inclusive to that.
Well, it's inclusive of that because it actually is preserving the history, which is the mission of the East Texas Oil Museum, is to preserve the history of the 1930s East Texas oil boom, which had obviously a profound effect on the growth of the city of Kilgore, making it from a small town to a bigger place to live, with all the people coming in, working in the oil field, and not just Kilgore, but the whole East Texas area. Obviously, it had an impact on helping birth Kilgore College. The East Texas oil field has produced 6 billion barrels of oil, and that obviously was pivotal with the oil production back then during World War II for the Allied forces to keep their oil stock, oil reserves in place. And so it's been a big part of history, and the Oil Museum wants to do a great job and has done a great job of preserving that history.
Yeah, and if it's your first time coming to Kilgore, you see those derricks out in display. It's one of those things that stand out to you. But how does this museum stand out to East Texas and just bring people from all over the state, if not country?
Well, it does bring people from all over the state, country, and actually all over the world as well. But it stands out because it's preserving the history, so people get a good idea of what the history was. And you all have been talking about Boomtown here, seeing the different places. So the different stores or different places like the barbershop or the theater, they actually have a tie-in to the different cities in the East Texas area that were all part of the oil boom. And you get to see life as it was, so to speak, back from the 1930s. The barbershop from back in the day, there's a theater, so you get to see a lot of the things. The general store that you guys were looking at earlier, obviously you see a replica of Boomtown. You probably have seen that with what was mud and vehicles stuck in the mud back then, and so that's just what it was like back here in the 1930s in East Texas. And so it's just great to see the history and great to preserve it. People come in, they get a good history lesson, and a lot of things that you see in the museum as you walk around are actually things that have been donated from folks in the East Texas area. So you get that piece of their lives or their families' lives as you're walking through the museum.
Manny Almanza, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead. There's still so much to learn here, but I'm going to go ahead and toss out to Ayana at McKay's Ranch House Restaurant. Let's hear from what Ayana is cooking up over there.